Biotechnology can be defined as the use of microorganisms, plants, or animal cells, or any components which are produced by them. It can be an enzyme, it can be a product of some enzyme, just in order to produce or generate certain products or services which can be used by human beings in order to make their life much better. It can be used in order to treat few diseases, create some drugs or medicines, or in other cases, it can just be used to produce better quality of antibiotics or anything which can be helpful for the mankind. The first scientist who found out about the recombinant DNA or recombinant organism was Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer in 1973. They used the transformation technique of bacterial cells in order to harvest certain proteins. And they started using those microorganisms as factories in order to produce large amount of required proteins. For example, we are aware about beta cells of pancreas. They secrete insulin. So if we can separate those beta cells, the gene which produces the beta cells in the islets of Langerhans of pancreas, and we can introduce the same segment of DNA to any E. coli or any microorganism, and as the microorganism is dividing by the process of binary fission, similarly the gene of insulin will be dividing, and it will be also producing the product of the gene that will be insulin. So we can just use those E. coli and get huge amount of insulin, and insulin can be given to the patient suffering from diabetes. So this idea was generated by Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer in 1973, which was a landmark idea. The process of transformation of bacterial cell means that you should think about the structure of a bacterial cell. So think that this is the structure of a bacterial cell, and in this structure of bacterial cell there is introduction of a foreign DNA in the form of plasmid. So somehow this DNA has entered the organism's genetic material and it is introduced in it. Suppose it is getting introduced. Once it is introduced, as this bacterial cell will divide and form several other cells, the cells will contain the same genetic material, and those cells will produce this orange colored insulin or any substance which we are interested in having. Now there are two fates of these bacterial cell in the process of transformation. First thing is this incorporation of material should be there. This genetic material must get incorporated into the genetic material of the host bacterial cell. Second thing is it should be completely capable of forming or getting transmitted to the next generation as the cell is undergoing binary fission. So these two processes must take place in order to harvest or use this bacterial cell as a factory for production of all these insulin or any proteins of our requirement. So that's why biotechnology plays a very vital role in our life nowadays. Next thing is about the entire idea that how did he use that E. coli and Salmonella typhimurium bacterium in order to produce the recombinant DNA. Now, you have to be aware that what is a plasmid. Think about the any bacterial cell. It has two structures. Extra chromosomal material of the bacterium is known as a plasmid. Plasmid contains various factors, and not only that, it contains some genes within itself. These genes can be fertility factor, resistance factor, or some other factors. So as the E. coli cell has the presence of plasmid, so our idea was to introduce some foreign genetic material into it. And before doing that, we must break the plasmid's DNA, or plasmid must be broken. The part of the plasmid must be broken in order to allow the attachment of some other kind of gene. So that is done as the second step. The foreign DNA is added. See, the attachment of foreign DNA at this place will take place. Once it is attached, now we have to wait. Is this recombinant plasmid completely formed or not? There will be two cases. Either it will be formed, otherwise it won't be. When it is formed, we can use it as a factory and form several number or huge number of our required enzyme or protein, and we can just take out only this portion by killing the E. coli. And by that, by the end of this process, we will have lot of insulin, because we are thinking about insulin right now. So same thing again, you have to be little more clear. You can get very clear if you see this diagram. First of all, we are taking a plasmid, and we are also taking human cell. Human cell, it means the not the we will take the entire cell and take only that small portion of the or small fragment of DNA which has the gene of our interest. Like we are interested in beta cell gene. So islets of Langerhans in the pancreas. Suppose this entire chromosome is controlling the secretion of islets of Langerhans in the pancreas. And in this entire structure, this portion is the one which is responsible for beta cell activity. So we will just take out this small particle or small portion, and we will be using only this blue small portion in order to introduce it into the plasmid. So before introducing it into the plasmid, we need to cleave the plasmid's nuclear material, and after cleaving the plasmid's nuclear material, we attach this insulin gene over there. We attach it properly. Recombinant DNA will be formed. After formation of recombinant DNA, we introduce this recombinant plasmid into the bacterium E. coli, and if it can successfully form several generations, we can get the enzyme products from them, and we can just harvest the enzyme product from the bacterium. Now, there will be various substances which will be required in order to do the entire process of rDNA or form a gene. You can see at first we are harvesting a cell. So we will start with one first important types of substances which are required for rDNA technology. First thing is the enzymes. There are various enzymes which are required, and we should be aware about the function of each of the enzymes. The first category of enzymes are the lysing enzymes. Lysing means breakdown. So the breakdown enzymes will include um, various. The idea is as such that the human cell which we have taken, we need the genetic material of it. We don't need everything which is present inside a cell. So in order to get the genetic material, we need to break all the rest of the things which are present in the cell. So in order to break all those things, it can be if we are thinking about human beings or animals, we need different kinds of breakdown enzymes, whereas if we are thinking about plant cells, we need different enzymes. So let's talk about each one of them. At first, we uh, we should have an idea about the plant cell. So plant cell requires cellulase enzyme in order to break down the cell wall. Cellulase to break down the cell wall. Pectinase also helps in breakdown of cell wall as well as the plasma membrane. Protease helps in cleaving all the proteins which are inside the cytoplasm, and lipases will kill the or destroy the fat which is present in the cell. So when these all substances will be broken down, the cell wall, plasma membrane, proteins and fat, what we will be left with? The nuclear material, that is the DNA. So if we get the DNA, then we can just cut it and find our required DNA. We will see that how we will get that portion, but our first interest was to get the DNA, and we are getting the DNA of a plant cell by using all these enzymes. Now, think about an animal cell. Animal cell has a plasma membrane and the proteins inside it, along with some of the fats. So proteases and lipases will be required. Cellulase and pectinase is not required because cell wall is absent in case of animals. Now think about a fungal cell or the cell of a fungus. Over there, chitin is present as an outer covering. So chitinase is the enzyme which is required in case of fungus or fungal cells in order to break the cell wall of fungus. After that, again, plasma membrane will be there, and proteins and lipids will be there inside the fungal cell. So we need to destroy them all with the help of protease and lipases. So chitinase is a special enzyme which is required in order to dissolve the outer external wall of the fungal cell. What about the bacterial cell? Bacterial cell requires only lysozyme. Lysozyme is way too sufficient. Lysozymes are way too sufficient in order to break down the outer prokaryotic wall along with all the proteases which are present, and just the genetic material will be left as an end product after the uses of the lysing enzyme. Next is about the endonucleases. We have already studied about the endonuclease in the previous chapter. There are two types: exonuclease and endonuclease. Exonuclease cuts at the corners, whereas the endonuclease cut in between the nucleotide sequence. Now, when we talk about the endonucleases, we should have some idea about two important things. One is that every time, especially the restriction endonuclease, why is it important? And we should always use the term restriction enzymes or restriction endonucleases. As the name suggests, restriction, it means these are capable of restricting the foreign DNA from taking over the host cell by cutting them, or by cutting them at AG sites. Always remember they cut at AG sites, the endonucleases, and they produce sticky ends. Two things are important. One is they do not allow cutting of plasmid at any other position other than the, or any other substance other than the plasmid. So think about, in a simple way, if I want to make you understand it, think that um, a bacterial cell is there. It has its own nuclear material, so its own genetic material is over here. And suppose a plasmid has introduced its genetic material. Now this genetic material needs to get combined at in this green structure or green nucleotide. What the what will be done exactly at this position? First important thing you should keep in mind is there is methylation present at 80 sites in case of the green bacterial genome. Every time any cell is present in a living organism, it is always having a methylated site, so that the same restriction enzymes or the self restriction enzymes will not cleave at the 80 sites which are present in the, say, in the self genome. Whereas when the self genome is not having the presence of these 80 sites or methylated 80 sites, those will be the sites where the molecular scissors will be cleaving or cutting. So presence of methylated sites in the bacterial cell makes it unavailable for the cell or for any um, restriction enzyme to act over it. After cutting with the restriction enzyme, there are two kinds of sites which are formed. One is a sticky end, which is formed after cutting with a restriction enzyme at 80 site of the plasmid. And why we are producing sticky ends, or how the sticky ends are formed, you should always remember that the sticky ends will be formed in such a way that whenever we want it to get attached, they have the capability of attaching properly. See these cut ends, these have a particular structure. And when we again have, suppose this is from the bacterium, and the other restriction enzyme has definitely cut similar section from the plasmid. Now these two sections will combine very easily with one another, and with the help of this only we get the recombinant DNA, which is used for biotechnological study. So only the sticky ends which are formed as a end of endonuclease activity at the plasmid because of lack of methylated AT sites in the genome of plasmid, that results in formation of sticky ends, and as a result our DNA can be formed, or it will have sticky ends in order to attach the genome to the nucleus or the nuclear content or the genome of the bacterial cell. Next enzyme is alkaline phosphatase. The importance is that it forms, first thing is that it helps in overcoming a problem which most of the bacterial plasmids they have. They are circular. Now whenever we want to use it, we want to cut them and make them linear. So in order to make a circular DNA linear, we want to cut them. And whenever you are cutting it at any site, suppose you have cut at this site, then still there will be sticky ends present at both the sides, this end as well as the other end which is left, and they will always come together and coil. So in order to avoid that, first thing is done, we need to remove the phosphate at the 5 prime end. So at the 5 prime end, we are aware that two things are there. First is at the 5 prime end there is a phosphate present, and at the 3 prime end of the genome there will be presence of OH group. So our intention is to remove this phosphorus from here. Once the phosphorus is removed, then we can expect that the OH is present, and when OH will come and bind, it will result in formation of again phosphodiester bond formation will be there. So this helps in cleaving the plasmid and making it linear. So what was the important? Phosphate was removed from 5 prime end, and second thing, linear nature of the plasmid could be found with the help of it. Ligases, the function is to attach or to join phosphodiester bonds. So covalent bonding is introduced because of the ligases. Phosphorylase is the next enzyme, and it is very important because it helps in binding a phosphate group to the or inorganic phosphate to the entire genome or wherever it is required. This attachment is quite different from normal attachments. It is not a normal kind of attachment, as because a bond is broken off, and the see ATP is broken down to release a phosphate, and that phosphate is added. So at first there is breakage, and that energy which is released is utilized in order to perform the activity or addition of that phosphate which is required again at 5 prime site of the nucleotide. Palindromic sequences are read same from both the ends. So think about in normal sense, Bob, if we read from front it reads the same, and if we read it from the back it again reads the same. This idea was is used in case of nucleotides in order to form sticky ends. So if anything is read from 5 prime to 3 prime, it will be same. GATTAC attack is read same from 5 prime to 3 prime, and if we write it, sorry, C, it is read the same. Suppose this is 5 prime, this is 3 prime. So every time 5 prime to 3 prime direction the reading will be the same. So if you read from this side it is reading 5, it is reading the same. GATTAC. Again, 5 prime to 3 prime. This is 5 prime. So GATTAC. And not only that, C pairs with G, A pairs with C with G, A. So this is actually, there is little mistake. So let me just do it once again. Sometimes, so it is 5 prime to 3 prime, and it should be GAATTC, and 5 prime 3 prime. C pairs with G, T A T A T T C. Now it is, so see, these both will form bonds. And not only that, if we read it from either cases, like from 5 prime to 3 prime, if we read it GAATTC, and if you read again from 5 prime to 3 prime GAATTC, it is read the same. So this is the idea of palindrome or sticky end production. So as a result, we get sticky ends if we follow the same rule and we are cleaving with the help of restriction enzymes. So these, if you see E. coli, it produces a sequence where this kind of structure is present, and this is a kind of sticky end, and sticky ends are always capable, or they have a tendency to join with each other. So suppose this one is from the bacterium and this is from the plasmid, so both of them, they can very easily attach, and the genome of the bacterial cell will be capable of attaching the plasmid's DNA, and as a result, our gene of interest will be formed in large number.